So Byron Donalds, the Republican that said,
during Jim Crow, the black family was together.
That's right.
when we had no rights, ironically, we stayed together. That's what we need to do. We need to fix the black family. We need to go back to not having no rights. I mean, I'm going to keep my rights and my white wife because integration, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, he went on CNN and MSNBC. He gave her the business. Byron Donalds, where you at, bro?
Kamala Harris in a debate last week, she lied about Donald Trump's bloodbath comments. Why did she say that? Because she wants to invoke a negative energy around the campaign of Donald Trump, frankly, to affect these undecided voters that we talked about at the top.
There
What
could
is
be
she
a lot
supposed
of
to talk
fact.
about?
I mean,
The same,
Congressman, you and I
hold
have gone
on,
back and forth a
the
lot
same
about
lie
like fact checking
Charlottesville.
that can happen.
Kate, can you acknowledge that Kamala Harris lied about the Charlottesville comments again? Something that even Snopes has debunked and said is fake news, that it is wrong, that his statements were taken out of context. Those are the direct lies coming from Kamala Harris. So if you're going to talk about the invective put into this campaign that Kamala Harris and her campaign has done, trying to invoke a negative response from voters in our country.
Look at her face, man. Oh, he's got a point. How do I back away from this point? Because I cannot admit with it or agree with it, because if I do, guess who's going to be cutting their eyes at me at the next Democratic brunch or lunch? Can't have mimosas with the Dems. If I agree with him that, yeah, Kamala lied like a rug about that Charlottesville thing that's been debunked like 4 years ago, almost immediately it was debunked, that everyone keeps repeating, including Joe Biden, the president. Yeah, it kind of got me there. But tend to think that may be more damaging than talking about cats getting eaten. But hey, to say that Trump supports the Klan and neo-Nazis. Yeah, like I say, man, that was the first time, folks. That particular lie about Charlottesville, where they say Trump said there's evil on both sides, when I saw the amount of people that believed it, when I found out it wasn't true, when I found out right after he said that, he said, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis. I'm not talking about the Klan. They have no place in our society.
And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
He said it, like literally said that. They were like, nah, you don't get to be a good person. You don't get to be good, Trump. You've already been saying you're a racist Klan member, so you don't get to say you don't mean those people, because in our world you do. In our world you do, and that's the world we want the whole world to live in, because we are the deciders. And look, guys, I think that proves something. That proves something to me, Johnson. That proved to me that I already knew. Like, I already knew about Hillary, but what I'm saying, it further crystallized, and I hope that for some of you guys, it helps you realize Trump ain't that powerful. I know they want to say he's all powerful, but he cannot even get them as president to stop lying this lie that has lived on for an additional 4 years. Yeah. Actually, that was 2017? God, 7 more years. And when it's said, they don't even push back. And it's one of the worst things anybody could say about you, right? That you support neo-Nazis. Kind of hard to make inroads with black voters when people think that you think that protesters of neo-Nazis are just as good as or equal to neo-Nazis. Protesters against neo-Nazis. So anyway, so that was one of the things. So I just hope people realize that, like, if Trump is so powerful, why come he couldn't get them to stop? He couldn't. He still can't. And even on this show, in front of the whole world, Byron Donalds brings it up. Whether you like Byron Donalds or not, don't matter. This ain't about liking people. This is about the truth. Let's see what she says. I'm sure she's gonna switch the subject because what else could you do, man? Being rich is fun. Who wants to not be rich because you want to tell the truth about Trump or truth about how Kamala lied or truth about how Biden's a big fat liar? Like, who wants to do that? Who wants to go back to shopping off the rack? Oh, because they want to admit that this guy has a point. As if any of those things would actually happen. That's another thing people do. They like to give people grace because, well, you know, man, they can't be honest. Yes, they could. The whole world doesn't end because you tell the truth about one thing. You'd have to tell a series of truths like I do for the world to end for you. Yeah, that's what you'd have to do. You'd have to like call out the entire left and say, hey, you know what, guys? We got a racist problem on the left. And then everybody comes for you at one time because of that. And because you point that out, then all of them attack you, mainly the black ones first, because that's who you send first. Because the whites, they would have been called racist if they did. So they sent the blacks, and then they came for me because of that. So I'm a testament that one thing you say is not going to do it, is you have to be relentless. So this woman, don't give her any grace. Don't say, oh, well, she's got to be able to feed her family, so she can't tell the truth here. Yeah, she could have. She could have told the truth. It does not help for you to give them leeway. Now, we're supposed to hold media people accountable too. And I'm a testament when I called out the progressives and I said, hey, you guys, you don't rock with reparations. You don't rock with a black agenda. None of y'all. They sent black people. They sent black so-called progressives after me. Then they came once I was beat up. Then the whites piled on. So this is what happens. And I'm just here to say, I lived it. I know it. I seen it. They was bigging up the Proud Boys, bigging up the Boogaloo Boys, bigging up the black people kissing ass of the Klan, all types of goofy shit, all types of goofy stuff. And I don't mean to get personal, but I just want you to know I know a little bit about this. I live this. I live this, and it's no excuse for her not to tell the truth. She doesn't get to look down and act like she don't know what we're talking about. We're talking about the future of this country. We're talking about the future of our children. We're talking about America and all the people that live in it. And if you're going to be a media person, you should have to be honest. You don't get to look down and act like something's like, you know, like somebody took your doggy. Like you got gas all of a sudden. Look at her. He's saying, hey, you want to fact check Trump about Charlotte's, about the cats? You want to talk about Springfield, Ohio? Let's talk about the shit that Kamala said, the same show that was a bogus lie that didn't swell the internet. And Trump heard it and repeated it, but something we know is false, that everyone knows is false. And you didn't fact check her. The ABC didn't fact check her, and ABC ain't even a part of CNN. But that's how close they are. She carrying water for another network that let Kamala get away with that. And I just think it's important for us to recognize what's happening.
Versus Donald Trump talking about issues, whether it be in a city or, quite frankly, you could bring up Aurora, Colorado, or you could bring up Denver, Colorado, that have been overrun by illegal immigrants.
There are lots of things can be brought up, which is also if you're talking about.
He brought up a very specific thing. And I would, whatever. It is what it is, Johnson. What can you do? What can you do? I know what you can do. You could be an honest human being. You could be real. You could say, you know what, being a journalist is a job where you have an obligation to the people that you are giving the news to. And you can do the best job you can. And when you make mistakes, when you fall short, for whatever reason, you could own up to it and say, hey, look, guys, my bad. You know, I used bad judgment there. Or I made a mistake, or whatever it was. But you can't do the fake pretend like, oh, God, well, here's this guy bringing up something irrelevant again. No, I was very relevant. Very relevant. Trump did not start the conversation about Springfield, Ohio, or Aurora, Colorado. That had been going on. Trump just him and his people just pay attention to what's on the internet. That's all. He did not create that Aurora story. Everybody been talking about that for like a month. Actually, before that.
an apartment building in Aurora that has had a double shooting and a 13-hour SWAT standoff within the last few weeks, has a claim to it by the property owners that it has been violently taken over by a Venezuelan gang.